Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive with us. Today we're going to be tackling green tech.
Ooh, fun.
It's a big one, right? Using tech to fight climate change.
Yeah, definitely a hot topic these days.
For sure. I'm actually super fascinated by all this, excited to really dig in, and I've got an expert here with me
How good to be here.
who can break it all down for us.
Yeah.
And it looks like you guys sent in a ton of info on this, so
Yeah, wow.
clearly you're all just as interested as we are. We got articles, research, even some of your own notes, really the whole shebang.
It covers pretty much every angle, too.
Yeah, it's amazing. Everything from renewable energy and using energy more efficiently to sustainable agriculture, green transportation.
Waste management, the future of clean water, even.
Yeah, it's a lot. Don't worry, we've gone through it all, and like we always do, we're going to pull out the most important stuff for you.
What I think is so interesting is that green tech, it's not just some futuristic concept. It's already here.
Right. Okay, so before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's just start with the basics.
Yeah.
What exactly is green tech?
Yeah, it's definitely become a bit of a buzzword.
It really has.
But it's more than just a trendy term. It's really any technology that's designed to reduce our impact on the environment.
Okay.
Like shrinking our carbon footprint, promoting sustainability, protecting our resources.
So it's not just about saving the polar bears. It's about making the world better for all of us.
Exactly. Cleaner air, healthier ecosystems.
And I've even heard there are tons of new job opportunities coming up in this area.
Oh, yeah, for sure. As the sector grows, that's one of the real benefits.
Okay, I'm sold. Now let's unpack some of those core areas you guys sent us info about. First up, renewable energy.
Okay.
This idea of powering the world with the sun and wind and water, even the Earth's heat.
It does sound kind of magical.
It does, but how realistic is it really?
What's exciting is it's becoming more realistic every day. Solar panels are getting cheaper, wind turbines more efficient, and geothermal is finding more innovative ways to harness that heat from the Earth. So not just a pipe dream anymore.
That's incredible. But what happens when the sun sets, the wind stops blowing? I mean, we need energy all the time.
Right. Well, that's where energy efficiency comes in.
Okay.
It's like the unsung hero of green tech.
Really?
Think smart grids that adapt to demand, buildings designed to conserve energy, even something as simple as switching to LED light bulbs.
Wait, LED light bulbs are saving the planet? Stock up.
They're doing their part.
But seriously, all this tech, it sounds expensive. How does green tech impact our wallets?
So you're right, there can be some higher upfront costs.
Yeah.
But the long-term savings, they can really outweigh that. Using less energy means lower bills, and that's good for everyone.
Right.
Plus, as green tech gets more popular, more widely adopted, those costs are going to continue to come down.
Right, that makes sense. Let's move on to something I find super interesting, sustainable agriculture.
Ooh, yes.
Can tech really change how we grow our food? Make it more eco-friendly?
Absolutely. It's already happening. We're seeing drones being used to monitor crops, AI helping farmers make decisions about irrigation, fertilizer, and vertical farming.
Vertical farming, what is that?
So it's basically growing upwards instead of outwards, using less space.
Oh, wow. Like a skyscraper, but for plants.
Yeah, kinda. It helps us grow more food with a smaller footprint.
Okay, that's super cool. But I guess it makes sense, right? If we're trying to reduce the impact of, traditional farming.
Exactly. Traditional agriculture can be pretty resource intensive, but green tech's offering these gentler solutions.
All right, let's talk about something I think a lot of people are excited about, transportation.
Sure.
Electric vehicles are becoming more and more mainstream, but what about those batteries and the charging infrastructure? Can it really be sustainable in the long run?
The transportation sector is definitely going through a big transformation. And electric vehicles are getting more popular, and the tech behind them is just evolving so quickly. We're seeing longer battery ranges, faster charging speeds, more charging stations popping up everywhere.
So it's like a gas station model, but for electrons.
Basically, the goal is to make charging your EV just as easy as filling up your gas tank. There are still some challenges, of course.
Yeah, for sure.
Particularly with battery production, sourcing raw materials, but those are being addressed.
Yeah, I bet there are concerns about what happens to all those batteries once they, die.
Oh, yeah.
We don't want to just create a new waste problem.
Of course not.
Yeah.
That brings us to another super important area of green tech, waste management. From recycling to biodegradable materials, tech is helping us tackle our waste problem in all these new and exciting ways.
Wow, so we could actually turn our trash into something useful.
Well, in some cases, yes. At the very least, manage it so it doesn't harm the planet.
That's amazing. And speaking of precious resources, we can't forget about water.
Absolutely essential.
Right. So how's tech helping us conserve and purify our water?
It's all about using smart solutions to make the most of our water resources. We're talking efficient irrigation systems,
Yeah.
smart water meters to track our usage, find leaks, even tech that turns seawater into drinking water.
Turning seawater into drinking water. Wait, how is that even possible?
It's called desalination, and it's becoming a more viable option, especially for areas with water shortages.
Wow, and the technology is getting better all the time.
All the time, more efficient, more cost-effective.
That is just incredible. Okay, we've talked about energy, food, transportation, but what about all that plastic waste that ends up in the ocean?
Right.
Is there any hope for cleaning that up?
There is. There's this amazing initiative, the Ocean Cleanup Project, and they're using some really advanced tech to tackle this problem.
Okay, what are they doing?
So they've developed these huge, specialized systems that collect plastic waste from the ocean's surface.
Giant tech-powered ocean cleanup systems. That sounds like something out of a movie.
It's pretty remarkable. And they're not just cleaning up existing plastic, they're also working to prevent more plastic from entering the ocean in the first place.
Wow, that's impressive. Okay, what about the big tech companies? You know, the ones that are a huge part of our lives.
Right.
Are they doing anything to contribute to a greener future?
Many of them are. Take Google, for example. They've made a real commitment to renewable energy, investing in solar and wind power to run their data centers, which use a lot of energy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And they've set big goals to become carbon neutral pretty soon.
So even the companies that are powering our, digital lives are getting on board with this whole green movement.
It's a big deal. It shows that sustainability is becoming a core value across pretty much every industry, and tech is a big part of that.
That's awesome. It really feels like there's a lot of positive momentum building in the green tech world.
Yeah, tons of progress.
But I imagine it's not all smooth sailing, right?
Well, it's not all easy, that's for sure.
What are some of the challenges that we face on the road to a truly green future?
One of the biggest is simply the scale of the task. We're talking about transitioning entire industries, global energy systems, even the way we live.
It's a huge undertaking.
It is. It requires a lot of investment, new tech breakthroughs, and honestly, a collective will to change.
It sounds like it's not just about inventing cool new gadgets, it's about changing the entire system.
It really is. And then you have more specific challenges, like with technology and infrastructure. For example, with renewable energy, how do we make sure there's enough power even when the sun's not shining or the wind's not blowing?
Right, that's the big question with renewables.
And then what about energy storage? Can batteries really solve that problem at a scale big enough to matter?
Those are big questions.
They are. Batteries are a huge part of the solution, and we've seen amazing advancements in battery tech lately.
I've heard that, especially with electric cars driving that innovation.
Exactly. But to really make renewable energy work on a large scale, we need even better batteries, more efficient, cheaper, more sustainable.
What about the power grid itself? Can our current infrastructure even handle all this renewable energy?
That's another big hurdle. Our current power grids, they were designed for a very centralized system. Big power plants sending electricity to everyone.
Right.
But renewable energy is often generated from lots of smaller sources, like rooftop solar panels or wind farms.
So we need to change how we distribute and manage energy.
Exactly. We need to make the grid smarter, more flexible.
Right.
We need to use things like advanced sensors and real-time data to balance supply and demand.
That sounds like a massive project.
It is. But it's a necessary one if we want a truly sustainable energy future. And speaking of investments, we can't forget about the economic side of things.
Right. Green tech can be expensive.
It can, especially at the beginning.
And it's tough to compete with things like, fossil fuels, which are often subsidized by governments.
Exactly. That makes them seem cheaper, even though they have these huge hidden costs for the environment and our health.
So it's like, we know green tech is better in the long run, but the upfront cost can be scary.
It's a real challenge. We need to make green tech more attractive, financially and practically.
How do we do that?
Well, it might involve things like carbon taxes, which basically put a price on pollution, or tax breaks, subsidies for investing in green tech.
So we need a mix of government help and market forces to really drive this transition.
Absolutely. Policies and regulations are key to shaping the market, encouraging innovation.
And we need everyone working together, right? I mean, climate change is a global problem.
It is. We need international cooperation, global standards, everyone moving in the same direction.
Because climate change doesn't care about borders.
Nope. It's a global challenge that needs global solutions. But even with the best tech, the right policies, the money, we still need to change people's minds.
Oh yeah, public perception is huge
It really is.
because people can be resistant to change,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to something as big as how we power our lives,
Some people might be skeptical of new technology, worried about the costs of switching.
or just not sure how to make the change.
Right. And there's still some misinformation out there about climate change, which makes it harder to get people on board with solutions.
So how do we get people excited about green tech? How do we move beyond those who are already on board and reach everyone else?
I think we need to do a better job of explaining the benefits, not just for the planet, but for people's everyday lives.
Like how it can actually make their lives better.
Exactly. Show them how it means cleaner air, healthier communities, new jobs, even lower energy bills.
So it's not just about saving the planet, it's about improving people's lives.
Exactly. And we need to make sure these solutions are accessible to everyone, no matter their income or background. Sustainability shouldn't be a luxury, it should be a right.
That's a powerful point. It's about making sure everyone benefits from a greener future.
Exactly.
So we've talked about the present state of green tech, but what about the future? What's coming next?
Oh, there's so much to be excited about. One of the most promising areas is green hydrogen. We touched on it briefly before.
Yeah, green hydrogen.
But it's worth digging into.
Remind me what makes it so special.
It's all about how the hydrogen is produced. The old way often uses fossil fuels, which defeats the purpose.
Right, so it's not just about using hydrogen, it's about where it comes from.
Exactly. Green hydrogen uses renewable energy to split water molecules, making it truly clean and sustainable.
You can use it for a lot of things, right?
Oh, yeah. Tons of potential applications. Decarbonizing heavy industries like steel and cement, powering fuel cells, vehicles, even heating our homes.
So it could replace fossil fuels in a lot of different areas.
That's the goal. Of course, there are still challenges like scaling up production and bringing down costs.
Sure, but the potential is there.
Oh, absolutely. And it ties into that idea of decentralization we talked about. Imagine communities producing their own green hydrogen using renewables.
Wow, that's a really cool vision.
It is. It would make them even more independent from fossil fuels and those big centralized energy systems.
Okay, I'm loving this. What other trends are you watching?
Another one I find fascinating is the rise of decentralized energy solutions, like we were just talking about. Imagine communities generating their own WN power using things like solar panels on their roofs, small wind turbines, even microgrids that can work independently.
So instead of relying on these giant power plants, we could have smaller local energy systems.
Exactly.
But is that really realistic?
It's getting more realistic every day. The cost of renewables is going down, making them more affordable for people and communities.
That's great.
And with new energy storage and smart grid tech, it's getting easier to manage these distributed energy resources.
So it's not just a dream, it could actually happen.
It's totally within reach. And the benefits go beyond just getting rid of fossil fuels. It means more energy security, more local jobs, and it lets people take control of their energy future.
I love that. Okay, we've talked about energy, food, transportation. But what about all the waste we create? Is there any hope of actually creating a circular economy where waste is valuable instead of just garbage?
I'm really optimistic about the circular economy. We're seeing huge advancements in recycling tech that could make it a reality.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Okay, so take plastic recycling. Traditional methods have their limitations, but now we have advanced chemical recycling that breaks down plastics into their basic building blocks.
Wow.
So we can make new, high-quality materials from what was once considered waste.
So we can turn plastic waste back into something useful.
Exactly. And this isn't just for plastics. We're seeing innovation in recycling all sorts of things. Textiles, electronics, even construction materials like concrete and asphalt.
That's amazing. It's like turning trash into treasure.
But even with all this, can we really reverse the damage we've already done? Like, is it possible to capture more carbon than we emit?
It's a big goal, but some truly mind-blowing technologies are being developed that could make it happen. We call them carbon-negative technology.
Carbon negative.
They actually pull more carbon dioxide from the atmosphere than they release. Wow, that's like giving the planet a giant air purifier. But are these technologies actually feasible?
Some are still in their early stages, and there are challenges with cost and scale.
Yeah.
But the potential is huge, and research is moving fast.
It's definitely something to watch. Okay, so we've talked about green hydrogen, decentralized energy, advanced recycling, even these incredible carbon-negative technologies.
It's a lot.
It is. What other trends are shaping the future of green tech?
One of the most important trends is how different technologies are coming together. We're seeing AI and machine learning being used in tons of different areas of green tech,
Interesting.
like optimizing renewable energy systems or developing more sustainable materials. It's not just about individual technologies anymore. It's about how they work together.
So 1 + 1 = 3.
Exactly. Another big trend is the use of data and analytics to manage our resources and track our progress towards sustainability. This means using sensors, data platforms, algorithms to monitor things like energy consumption, water usage, deforestation, even carbon emissions. It's like having a real-time dashboard for the health of our planet.
That's a great way to put it. But data is only useful if we can actually use it to make better decisions.
Exactly. That's why we're seeing more open data platforms and data sharing. The idea is to make this information available to everyone, researchers, policymakers, businesses, even the public.
So everyone can be part of the solution.
Exactly. And speaking of that, another exciting trend is the rise of citizen science and community-based environmental initiatives.
Citizen science. What's that?
It's where everyday people use technology to monitor their local environments, collect data,
Right.
even participate in research projects.
Oh, cool. So anyone can be a scientist these days.
Pretty much. There are apps and websites that let you contribute your observations and data to big scientific studies.
That's awesome. It gets everyone involved.
And it's incredibly valuable. More data for scientists, more awareness about the environment, and it empowers communities to take action.
It's like connecting people to nature and to each other.
Exactly.
I love it. Okay, I'm ready for some more future gazing. What other mind-blowing innovations are on the horizon? What can we expect in the next 10 years?
One area I'm particularly excited about is bio-based materials.
Bio-based.
Imagine creating sustainable alternatives to things like plastics and textiles using plants and algae.
Wait, so we could make clothes and furniture and even buildings out of plants?
It's closer than you think. Scientists are making amazing progress. Bioplastics that are biodegradable, bio-based textiles that are soft and durable, even building materials to replace concrete and steel.
That's incredible. What about energy? What's going to change how we power the world in the next few years?
Next-generation solar technologies are getting a lot of attention. Things like perovskite solar cells.
Perovsk.
They could be even more efficient and cheaper than traditional solar panels. And there's a lot of work being done on new ways to store energy, new battery types, even using things like compressed air or gravity.
It sounds like we're on the verge of a whole new energy revolution.
It really does feel that way.
One that's powered by clean, renewable sources.
Right.
What about other areas like transportation and agriculture? Any big changes coming there?
In transportation, we'll see more electric vehicles for sure, but also new things like autonomous vehicles, shared mobility, even flying cars powered by electricity or hydrogen.
Flying cars.
It's coming. And in agriculture, we'll see more precision farming, using data and tech to grow more food with less impact on the environment.
It's amazing to think how much could change in just a few years.
It really is.
It feels like we're on the edge of a massive transformation in how we live and interact with the planet.
For sure.
But with all this talk about technology, we need to remember that it's just a tool, right? It's up to us to decide how to use it.
Exactly. Green tech offers amazing solutions, but it's not a magic fix. We need to be smart about how we use these technologies.
So we don't accidentally create new problems.
Exactly. We need to think holistically, consider the whole life cycle of these technologies, from the raw materials, how we dispose of them.
It's about making sure that green tech benefits everyone and doesn't leave anyone behind.
That's the goal.
And we need to remember that technology is just one part of the solution. We also need to change our behavior, how much we consume, and our entire economic system.
It's true. We can't just keep consuming and wasting like we do now. We need to rethink our relationship with nature and build an economy that values sustainability.
So it's not just about the tech, it's about our values and priorities.
Absolutely. Technology can be a powerful tool for good, but it's up to us to make the right choices.
I love that. This deep dive into green tech has been so eye-opening.
It's fascinating stuff.
It really is. I'm really starting to understand the potential, and I'm honestly feeling really optimistic about the future.
Me too. There's a lot to be hopeful about.
But I know we're not done yet. We still have more to explore.
We do. Lots more to uncover.
Can't wait.
Me neither. And we're back, ready to go even deeper into the world of green tech.
I'm still kind of reeling from all the amazing innovations we talked about. Like, it's incredible how much potential there is for green tech to really make a difference.
Yeah, it's a pretty exciting time to be watching this all unfold. But like any revolution, there are always going to be some bumps in the road. Remember those hurdles we talked about?
Oh yeah, it's not all sunshine and roses, is it?
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the things holding back green tech from really taking off?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is simply the scale of it all. We're talking about transitioning entire industries, our global energy systems, even how we live our lives.
Yeah, that's a huge EE task.
It is. It requires tons of investment, constant breakthroughs in technology, and honestly, everyone needs to be on board with making a change.
So it's not just about inventing cool new gadgets, it's about changing the entire system.
Exactly. And then there are those more specific challenges with the technology itself and the infrastructure we have. Like with renewable energy, how do we make sure there's enough power when the sun's not shining or the wind isn't blowing?
Right, that's the classic problem with renewables.
It is. And what about energy storage? Can batteries really handle that on a large scale?
Those are some tough questions.
They are. Batteries are a key part of the solution, don't get me wrong. And we've seen amazing progress in battery tech, especially with electric cars pushing things forward.
Yeah, for sure.
But for renewable energy to truly work everywhere, we need even better batteries. Cheaper, more efficient, more sustainable.
So it's a work in progress.
Definitely. And then there's the power grid. Our current grid wasn't designed for all this renewable energy.
Right, it was designed for those big power plants sending electricity out to everyone.
Exactly. But renewable energy often comes from lots of smaller, more spread out sources. Think rooftop solar panels, wind farms, that kind of thing.
So the way we move energy around needs to change too.
Big time. We need a smarter, more flexible grid, using things like sensors and real-time data to keep everything balanced.
Sounds like a huge project.
Oh, yeah, it is. But essential if we want a truly sustainable energy future. And we can't forget about the money, the economic side of all this.
Right, green tech can be expensive, at least right now.
It can, and it's tough to compete with things like fossil fuels, which often get subsidies from governments.
So they seem cheaper, even though they're actually really bad for the environment and for us.
Exactly. We need to make green tech more appealing financially. A&D, practically.
How do we do that?
Well, maybe things like carbon taxes, putting a price on pollution, or giving tax breaks to people who invest in green tech.
So we need a mix of things, government help and market forces, to make it all work.
Absolutely. Policies and regulations are key to shaping the market and encouraging those green innovations.
And we need everyone on board globally, right? Climate change is a global problem.
You got it. We need international cooperation, global standards, everyone moving in the same direction, because climate change doesn't stop at borders.
Nope. It's a global problem that needs global solutions.
Exactly. But even with the best technology, the right policies, and all the money in the world, we still have this challenge of public perception.
Yeah, people can be hesitant to change, especially when it comes to something as big as how we power our world.
It's true. Some people are skeptical of new tech, worried about costs.
Or maybe they just don't know how to make the change.
Exactly. And there's still some misinformation out there about climate change, which makes it even harder.
So how do we get people excited about green tech? How do we move beyond the early adopters and reach everyone else?
We need to do a better job of explaining the benefits, and not just for the planet, but for people's everyday lives, too. Show them how it means cleaner air, healthier communities, new job opportunities, even lower bills.
So it's not just about saving the planet, it's about improving people's lives.
That's it. And we need to make sure these solutions are available to everyone, no matter their income or background. Sustainability shouldn't be something only rich people can afford.
That's a really important point.
It is. It's about making sure a greener future benefits everyone.
Okay, I'm with you there. We've talked about the challenges of scaling up, the economics, the need for good policies, and convincing the public. But even with all that, there's still a lot to be excited about, right?
Oh, tons. The innovation in green tech right now is incredible. It's not just about overcoming obstacles, it's about exploring new possibilities.
Okay, I like that. Remember those emerging trends we talked about? Let's get back to those and see what the future holds.
Let's do it. One area that's creating a lot of buzz is green hydrogen. We mentioned it before, but it's worth another look.
Green hydrogen, yeah. Remind me what makes it so special.
It all comes down to how it's made. The old way often uses fossil fuels, which kind of defeats the whole purpose, right?
So it's not just about using hydrogen, it's about how you get it.
Exactly. Green hydrogen uses renewable energy to split water molecules, so it's truly clean and sustainable.
And you can use it for so many things, right?
Tons of potential. It could help clean up heavy industries like steel and cement, power fuel cells, run cars, even heat our homes. It's pretty versatile.
It sounds like it could replace fossil fuels in a lot of different ways.
That's the dream. Of course, we still need to figure out how to make enough of it and bring the costs down.
The challenges never end.
They don't, but the possibilities are amazing. And it ties into that idea of decentralization we talked about. Imagine communities producing their own green hydrogen using local renewable energy.
Okay, now that is cool.
It really is. Even more independence from fossil fuels and those big centralized energy systems.
Love it. What else is on your radar? What other trends are exciting?
Well, I'm really fascinated by those decentralized energy solutions we talked about earlier. Imagine a world where communities generate their own power using rooftop solar, small wind turbines, even those microgrids that can work independently from the main grid.
It's like taking back control of our energy. But is that really possible on a large scale?
It's becoming more and more possible. The cost of renewables keeps dropping, making them more accessible to everyday people.
That's great to hear.
It is. And as energy storage and smart grid tech improves, it's getting easier to manage all these smaller sources of energy.
So it's not just a pipe dream. It could really happen.
It's totally within reach. And the benefits go beyond just ditching fossil fuels, more energy security, local jobs, and it empowers people to make their own choices about their energy.
I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's switch gears for a minute. We talked about energy, but what about all the waste we generate? Is there any hope of actually closing the loop and creating a circular economy, one where waste is actually valuable?
I'm really optimistic about the circular economy. There are some incredible advances in recycling tech that could make it happen.
Give me some examples. What kind of tech are we talking about?
Okay, so think about plastic recycling. The old methods had their limits, but now we have advanced chemical recycling. It can break down plastics into their building blocks, basically.
So we can create brand new, high-quality stuff from what used to be trash.
Exactly. And it's not just plastics. We're seeing innovations in recycling all sorts of things, textiles, electronics, even stuff like concrete and asphalt.
Wow, it's like alchemy, turning trash into treasure. But even with all this, can we actually undo the damage we've already done to the planet? Is it even possible to capture more carbon than we emit?
It's a big goal, but there are some truly mind-blowing technologies in development that could make it happen. They're called carbon negative technologies.
Carbon negative, what does that even mean?
It means they actually pull more carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere than they release.
Wait, seriously, that's giving the planet a giant air purifier.
It is. Some examples are still pretty early stage, and there are challenges with cost and how to scale them up.
Yeah, makes sense.
But the potential is enormous, and the research is moving fast.
Definitely something to keep an eye on. Okay, so we've talked about green hydrogen, decentralized energy, advanced recycling, even these incredible carbon negative technologies. What else? What other trends are shaping the future of green tech?
One of the biggest ones is the convergence of different technologies. We're seeing AI and machine learning being used in all kinds of green tech.
Interesting.
Yeah, like optimizing renewable energy systems or making more sustainable materials. It's not about individual technologies anymore. It's about how they work together.
The whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Exactly. Another big one is the use of data and analytics to manage resources and track our progress towards sustainability.
Okay, how does that work?
Think sensors, data platforms, fancy algorithms, all working together to monitor energy use, water use, deforestation, even carbon emissions. It's like having a real-time dashboard for the health of the planet.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
But data is only useful if we can actually use it to make better decisions, right?
Exactly. That's why we're seeing more open data platforms and data sharing. The idea is to make all this information available to everyone, researchers, policymakers, companies, even just regular people.
So everyone can contribute to finding solutions.
Yes. And speaking of everyone getting involved, another exciting trend is citizen science and all these community-based environmental projects.
Citizen science, I've never heard of that.
It's basically where everyday people use tech to keep an eye on their local environment, collect data, even get involved in research projects.
So anyone can be a scientist.
Pretty much. There are apps and websites that let you share your observations and data with scientists doing big studies.
That's so cool. It really gets everyone involved.
It does, and it's incredibly valuable. More data for the scientists, more awareness about the environment, and it helps communities take action.
I love that. Okay, I'm ready for another round of future predictions. What else is coming down the pipeline? What can we expect to see in the next 10 years of green tech?
One area I'm particularly excited about is bio-based materials.
Bio-based materials.
Yeah, imagine making sustainable alternatives to things like plastic and fabrics using stuff like plants and algae.
Wait, are you saying we can make clothes and furniture and
Yeah.
even buildings out of plants?
It's not as crazy as it sounds. Scientists are making some amazing breakthroughs. We've got bioplastics that are biodegradable, fabrics made from plants that are soft and durable, even building materials that can replace concrete and steel.
That's mind-blowing. What about energy? What kind of innovations are going to change how we power our world in the years to come?
There's a lot of buzz around next-generation solar tech, like perovskite solar cells. They could be even more efficient and cheaper than the solar panels we have now. And there's a ton of research into new ways to store energy, like new battery types, or even using compressed air or gravity.
It sounds like we're on the verge of a whole new energy revolution,
It really does, doesn't it?
one that's powered by clean, renewable sources. But it's not just energy, right? What about things like transportation and agriculture? Any big changes coming there?
For sure. In transportation, we'll see electric vehicles continue to grow in popularity, but we'll also see new things like self-driving cars, shared mobility services, and even flying cars running on electricity or hydrogen fuel cells.
Flying cars. I can't wait. What about agriculture?
Agriculture will see more precision farming, using data and tech to grow more food while using less water and fertilizer and minimizing the impact on the environment.
It's incredible to think about how much things could change in just a few years.
I know, it's mind-boggling.
It feels like we're at the very beginning of a massive shift in how we live and interact with our planet.
I agree, it's an exciting time.
But with all this talk about technology, we need to be careful, right? Technology is just a tool. It's up to us to use it wisely.
You're absolutely right. Green tech has so many potential solutions, but it's not a magic wand. We need to be smart about how we use these technologies and make sure we don't create new problems in the process.
Right, so we don't accidentally make things worse while trying to make them better.
Exactly. We need to take a holistic approach, considering the whole life cycle of a technology, from raw materials to how we dispose of it.
And we need to make sure green tech benefits everyone, not just a select few.
That's crucial. Sustainability shouldn't create more inequality.
It's about making sure everyone has access to clean energy, affordable transportation, and a healthy environment. It shouldn't be a luxury.
I couldn't agree more.
And we can't forget that technology is only part of the solution. We also have to change our behavior, how much we consume, and rethink our entire economic system.
So true. We can't just keep consuming and wasting like we do now. We need to build a new relationship with nature and create an economy that prioritizes sustainability and well-being.
It's a fundamental shift in values and priorities, not just about technology.
I think that's the key takeaway. Technology is a powerful tool, but it's up to us to use it responsibly and make the right choices.
And we're back for the final part of our deep dive into green tech.
Ready to wrap things up and explore what a sustainable future might actually look like.
I know it's crazy. We've talked about so much already. Renewable energy, electric cars, even those mind-blowing ideas like green hydrogen and carbon-negative technologies.
It's been a whirlwind of information.
It really has. But before we get too carried away with all the cool stuff green tech can do, maybe we should take a step back and talk about the potential downsides too.
You're right, it's important to be realistic.
What kind of risks or unintended consequences should we be thinking about?
Well, one concern is that all these new technologies could have some unexpected environmental impacts. For example, mining the materials needed for batteries and solar panels can be pretty damaging if it's not done carefully.
Oh yeah, like those rare earth minerals. I've heard those are tough to mine sustainably.
Exactly. We have to make sure we're not just creating new problems while trying to solve old ones.
So it's not just about the technology itself, it's about the whole process.
Right, from where we get the raw materials to how we dispose of or recycle the tech at the end of its life.
It's about looking at the whole picture, not just the shiny new gadget.
Exactly. Another thing to consider is that this transition to a greener economy could actually make inequality worse if we're not careful.
How so?
Well, if green tech stays expensive, only wealthy people will be able to afford it.
That's not good.
Not at all. We need to make sure everyone benefits from a green future, not just a select few.
So things like clean energy, affordable transportation, a healthy environment, those shouldn't be luxuries.
They should be rights available to everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What about jobs? I've heard some people are worried that automation in the green energy sector could lead to job losses in other industries.
That's a valid concern. We need to think about how to support workers who might be affected by these changes and make sure everyone has the opportunity to participate in the green economy.
It's about creating a just transition, not just a technological one.
I agree. And one more thing to keep in mind is that this focus on tech solutions can sometimes distract us from the bigger picture.
What do you mean?
Well, technology can be a powerful tool, but it's not a magic fix for everything. We also need to change our behavior, how much we consume, and even our whole economic system.
So you're saying we can't just invent our way out of this?
It's going to take more than that. We have to rethink our relationship with the planet and move away from this idea that we need constant economic growth.
It's about changing our values and priorities, not just our technology.
Exactly. Technology is just one part of the solution. It's a tool, and it's up to us to use it wisely and responsibly.
I think that's a really important message. So where do we go from here? What are the next steps on this path toward a greener, more sustainable world?
Well, we need to keep investing in research and development, support those entrepreneurs who are coming up with creative solutions, and create policies that encourage businesses to go green.
And we need to have open and honest conversations about the challenges and make sure everyone has a voice in shaping the future.
Absolutely. It's a team effort. Governments, businesses, communities, individuals, we all need to work together.
And it's a journey, not a destination, right?
Exactly. There will always be new challenges and new solutions to find. But I'm optimistic.
You too.
I think we have the tools and the knowledge to create a truly sustainable world.
This deep dive has been so inspiring.
It's been great exploring all this with you.
And with you, dear listener. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey.
If you're feeling inspired, there are so many resources out there. Do some research, check out local organizations, see what's happening in your community.
Every step counts, no matter how small. Whether it's reducing your own impact, supporting green businesses, or speaking up for change, we can all be part of the solution.
We can all make a difference.
This is The Deep Dive. Signing off, Innovating.